Transcendental Book Distribution Key, Harinam Sankirtan Key, Shri Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Marathon Key, the Gold Premanandi, oh glorious to the assembled Devotees, oh glorious to the assembled Devotees, oh glorious to the assembled Devotees, oh glorious to Shri Guru and to Shri Radha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know which verse it is.
51.
Is it, according to the marker, it seems to be chapter 11, Adi Lila.
Yes.
Text number?
51.
51. Text number 51. We're hearing about the expansions of Lord Nityananda. Jai Nitai Ki Jai. The expansions of Lord Nityananda. Nityanandam Padam Buddha Bringan Premam Madhu Madan Natva Kilanteshu Mukhya Likyante Katichinmaya. After offering my obeisances unto all the devotees of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who were like bumblebees collecting honey from the lotus feet, from his lotus feet, I should try to describe those who are the most prominent. Jai Jai Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Tanhara Charanashita Ye Ye Danya. All glories to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone who has taken shelter at his lotus feet is glorious. Jai Jai Shri Advaita Jai Nityananda Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Sara Bhakta Vrinda. All all glories to Sri Advaita Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dasya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sat Premamara Sakina Urdhva Skandavadutendo Shakarupan Gunanamaha. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the topmost branch of the indestructible tree of eternal love of Godhead. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the sub-branches of that topmost branch. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is an extremely heavy branch of the Sri Chaitanya tree. From that branch grow many branches and sub-branches. Watered by the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these branches and sub-branches have grown unlimitedly and cover the entire world with fruits and flowers. These branches and sub-branches of devotees are innumerable and unlimited. Who could count them? For my personal purification, I should try to enumerate only the most prominent among them. So tonight, this morning, done this morning, day or night around here. We're reading text 51 of this chapter, which is describing the 58th great devotee of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. His name was Kangsari Sen. 59th was Ramasen. The 60th was Ramchandra Kaviraj. The 64th, the 61st, 62nd, and 63rd were Govinda, Sri Ranga, Mukunda, who were all physicians. Purport. Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj, the son of Kandavasi, Chiranjiva, and Sunanda, was a disciple of Srinivasacharya and the most intimate friend of Narottam Das Thakur, who prayed several times for his association. His youngest brother was Govinda Kaviraj. Srila Jiva Goswami was very much appreciated Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj's great devotion to Lord Krishna, and therefore gave him the title Kaviraj. Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj, who was perpetually disinterested in family life, greatly assisted in the preaching work of Srinivasacharya and Narottam Das Thakur. He resided at first in Srikant, but later in the village of Kumaranagar on the banks of the Ganges. Govinda Kaviraj was the brother of Ramchandra Kaviraj and youngest son of Chiranjeev and Srikant. Although at first a Shakta, or worshipper of goddess Durga, he was later initiated by Srinivasacharya Prabhu. Govinda Kaviraj also presided first in Srikand and then in Kumara Nagara. But later he moved to the village known as Telia Budari on the southern bank of the river Padma. Since Govinda Kaviraj, the author of two books, Sangita Madhava and Gitamrit, the great Vaishnava Kavi or poet, Srila Jiva Goswami gave him the title Kaviraj. He is described in the Bhakti Ratnakar, 9th wave. Kangsari Sen was formerly Ratnavali in Braj, as described in the Gaudiya Janadesh Dipika. The Prabhupada Ki Jai. Continuing the unlimited description of the unlimited followers of Lord Nityananda who assist him in fulfilling Lord Chaitanya's mission. Lord Nityananda's business is to spread, besides taking part in the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Gaur Leela. Nityananda's business is to take that nectar or that ecstasy which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that prema which Lord Chaitanya is giving the world, and to spread it everywhere. So basically speaking, this is the mood of the preachers. They follow in the footsteps of Nityananda Prabhu, try to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere, wherever, not considering who asked, who didn't, who was fit and who was not fit. They spread this chanting of the holy names in particular wherever they can. Of course, we have in recent generations book distribution in a mass scale is also part of that spreading of the mission of Lord Chaitanya, who came for these two particular reasons. One, to taste Radha Prema, Prema of Radharani, but Radharani Krishna Prema, Prema of which Radharani is experiencing her Krishna Prema, and also to spread the Sankirtan movement even amongst the untouchables. This is the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Nityananda's primary limb, one could say, in this mission of spreading Krishna consciousness. Main branch of the Chaitanya tree, Lord Nityananda. From him, so many other branches are coming. ISKCON, in one sense, is one of those branches to spread, and very actively and very effectively spreading, although it may appear to be very small, but it's very great in the bigger picture, the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to engage everyone all over the world in chanting the holy name of Krishna, rendering service to Krishna. This morning I'd like to read one or two things, and then we'll see where that takes us. You may have read the newsletter or not yesterday, not newsletter, news clipping yesterday, but I'll read it again. These are some inspirations from a Prabhupada lecture. This morning we're listening to Srila Prabhupada early lecture in ISKCON, talking about the mood of a Vaishnava. And here we have another inspiration. It's also an early lecture in 66. And Prabhupada quotes a very quite well-known verse. Nam tishtami vaikunte yoginam varidaicha yatra gayanti madbhakta tatra tishtami narada. The Padma Purana. O Narada, the Lord says to Narada, O Narada, I am not in Vaikuntha, nor I am in the hearts of the yogis. I remain where my devotees glorify my name, fame, form, and qualities, and transcendental pastimes. Where the Lord is to be found, basically this means where Sankirtan is being performed. This glorification of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. He says, in the purport to this verse, Prabhupada says, I am not, or in this lecture commentary, I am not actually in my abode, Krishna Loka, neither am I in the heart of the yogis who are meditating, but I am present where my pure devotees are singing. He should be singing my glory. It says singing. Typo there. But I am present wherever my devotees, my pure devotees, are singing my glories. That's where we find Krishna. He appears by his own sweet will. But he's drawn, magnetically drawn by those, when his glories are being sung, preached, praised, etc. It's a natural attraction the Lord has, wherever the preaching is going on, Krishna consciousness. My dear King, this is from Bhagavatam 7:14-42, the Narada Muni preaching to King Yudhisthira. My dear King Yudhisthira, the Brahmins, especially those engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord throughout the entire world, are recognized and worshipped by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the heart and soul of all creation. The Brahmins, by their preaching, sanctify the three worlds with the dust of their lotus feet, thus they are worshipable even for Krishna. It's a famous statement of Srila Prabhupada. that he takes the dust of his own disciples' feet, especially for those who are preaching in Muslim countries, actually. Takes that dust and places it on his own head. Such Prabhupada felt so much grateful, this feeling of gratefulness which Prabhupada had for his own disciples for preaching this Krishna consciousness in difficult situations, in the cold, and oppressive situations which sometimes one faces. Prabhupada was so grateful, as is Krishna, of course, for this service. As admitted by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Nachatasman Manusheshu Kastin Me Priyakrita. The Brahmins preach the cult of Krishna consciousness all around the world. And therefore, although they worship Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord also recognizes them as worshipable. The unique feature of loving exchanges. That although the devotees, they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, someone said he derives greater pleasure rather than being worshipped, but rather worshipping his devotees. And they're certainly worshipable. All devotees are to, maybe you could say to different degrees, but anyone who's spreading the Krishna conscious message is topmost human being, and should be at least respected. I was listening to a lecture of Sri Swami this morning, but how much respect, and even little things like bowing down, it's not a little thing, it's a big thing, but it may look small. So showing respect to elders, showing respect to positions of authority, etc., is such a significant feature of the culture of Krishna consciousness. Culture means the growing, awakening of pure devotion. A lot depends on, entirely in fact, depends on the blessings of the Lord. That means by serving his devotees, Krishna is very pleased. So by rendering, let's say, showing respect in many ways, that of course is a big subject. It's not just about bowing down, but it's about acting in a way which is appropriate in that relationship. Serving or giving guidance, whatever it may be, to the other personality, the devotee. How we show our respect. Love is a high term, but it includes this principle of respect, at least in the preliminary stages. This is natural. It's meant to be there to help us, to evoke the mercy of Krishna, otherwise our chanting, our preaching, everything will not be so effective. The chanting of the holy names, the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Parampara disciple succession is spread to everyone, to every town or village. To be an effective instrument in the Lord's will, we have to also behave in a way which is appropriate. These principles are established by the behavior of the Vaishnavas. And that offering of respect to seniors in society, but particularly amongst the society of devotees, is a very important feature of devotional service. We worship, it says here, the devotees of the Lord Krishna gets more pleasure in worshipping the devotees. The relationship is reciprocal. The Brahmins want to worship Krishna, and similarly Krishna wants to worship the Brahmins. In conclusion, therefore, Brahmins and Vaishnavas who are engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord must be worshipped by religious philosophers, and people in general. Another one. This is somewhere. Some Bhakti notes. It says from Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, I advise all to preach the teachings of Rupa Raghunath, with all energy and resources. Our ultimate goal shall be to become the dust of the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Raghunath Goswamis. You should all work conjointly under the guidance of your spiritual master with a view to serve the absolute knowledge, the personality of Godhead. You should live somehow or another without any quarrel in this mortal world, only for the service of Godhead. Do not please give up the service of Godhead in spite of all dangers, all criticisms and discomforts. Do not be disappointed, for most people in the world do not serve the personality of Godhead. Do not give up your own service, which is your everything and all. Neither reject the process of chanting and hearing of the transcendental holy name of Godhead. You should always chant the transcendental name of Godhead with patience and forbearance like a tree, and humbleness like a straw. We wish that this mass of our body of flesh and blood may be sacrificed at the altar of preaching the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name of Godhead, propagated by Lord Chaitanya. We're not desirous of becoming a hero of work or reformer of religion, but our reality may be identified with the dust of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Raghunath, for that is our everything. The flow of the transcendental tide of the attraction of devotion will never be blocked. And you, with your all energy, shall devote yourself to fulfilling the desire of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who you could say established the spreading of Krishna consciousness on a grand scale. His spreading of Krishna consciousness was, of course, limited to a certain geographical area, India. But he preached very substantially in that area. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj took it a little further and established an institution geared towards spreading the message of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada took it out of the territory of India, spread it all over the world. So this way, Sankirtan movement expanding. As stated, I advise all to preach the teachings of Rupa Raghunath with all energy. The flower garland is on. Those are just a few points of Srila Prabhupada on the mission of Lord Chaitanya, and how preaching Krishna consciousness is indeed the necessary service, all of us. No matter what we do, and we can all part of this purpose of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our own purpose, of course, the most pleasing thing, to become Krishna conscious, to actually become one who can bring, by their pure devotion, bring pleasure to Krishna. I mentioned a couple of little things. I was doing a little analysis last night on our marathon, and about where we stand at this moment of time. Out of the various categories of books, we're behind. Well, we're not behind in day by day so much as that, but the total amount of distributed big books last year was more or less exactly 9,000. We're on 6,600 right now, so we're about 2,400 short. We want to equal last year. A task which is maybe not within our grasp, but we'll do our best. But we unfortunately have a few injured soldiers right now, or sick soldiers. We're just behind on the big books, not much. A little bit behind on the medium books, definitely within reach. We're way ahead on the small books. Already we've distributed 1,100 more than we did a whole marathon last year. And on magazines also, 400 ahead of the total figure last year, amazing. And there's the Arabic books again, which are the shortfall. We were 80 last year and 10 this year. 1,836 small ones last year, 312 this year. We're 1,500 Arabic. We have to drop some Arabons. Maybe that's the only hope for the marathon. And drop boxes of Arabic books. Blitz and Daniel with boxes of Arabic books. We do have 4 boxes sponsored, so it's doable. I'm not suggesting we're going to do it. We're 1 behind on CC. We're 5 last year, 4 this year. We're ahead on Srimad Bhagavatam, even with 4 days left. Probably 1 or 2 more to go out. Maybe let's see what Krishna's plans are today. There's 2 potential ones today, put it like that. And we're behind 9,700 book points right now. But we have 4 days left, so that could be called something maybe. We have a few, we say, hidden secrets and a few surprise scores coming in from various sources, which are quite significant ones too. For those who are not on the present list, but they're in France. So let's see how things go. We have sponsorship books which have yet to go out, have not been recorded. Let's see. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? I already slept last night, so I'm a bit tired. Who's that? Are you the head secretary? No.
No.
Are you the president?
Somehow trying to serve here. I don't know what it is exactly.
But you're not a resident.
Not a resident.
No, you're president. Hare Krishna. Go for it.
I have this question since Vrindavan. I heard from Devamrita Swami that there is Chaitanya Loka.
Chaitanya Loka.
Yes.
Shvetadvip.
And I'm just wondering how it looks like this taste of here in the material world trying to fish someone from the material conditioning and bring to Krishna consciousness. How is it going in Chaitanya Loka, because there is no conditioned soul there? So what is the what are the activities there of pleasing the Lord, of course, singing, chanting,
but region of Shvetadvip, Goradam, in the region of Shvetadvip. In the spiritual world, is all the various dhams are present there, and that means it's not a question of in the material world we sometimes see movements between dhams or palms, and maybe different pastimes and so on seem to evolve. In the spiritual world, they're eternally existing. So the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is that mood? Well, this material world is said to be a reflection of the spiritual world. So Lord Chaitanya's mission is. But what is his mood? What is that mood of Lord Chaitanya? What is he actually giving? What is he giving? Love of God. But in this world, we're in a, you could say, in the darkness. Everything is there. I think it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was hearing one sannyasi speak this morning, and a lot of time to hear him. And he was talking about how in Chaitanya Charitamrita describes how Lord Narayan, and he's surrounded by his devotees. So there's not really a particular, there's an aspect of compassion there. There's an aspect of that. But to really express that compassion, in one sense, this material world is the reservoir or the field for that manifestation of that expression, you could say, of that compassion. The details of why the living entity comes is under the influence of Maya, and why Lord Chaitanya or his avatars come or his associates come to manifest that compassionate aspect. So how is it manifest in the spiritual realm? In Gaur Lila, or Gaur Lam, spiritual portion of Golok, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as eternal associates. By the way, both can exist simultaneously, and even devotees can simultaneously be in various dhams, as eternal associates particularly. So there, what are they doing? They're experiencing the ecstasy of love for Radha and Krishna. They're experiencing the ecstasy of Sankirtan, dancing and chanting, constantly dancing and chanting, never ending. In this world, everything has its time influence. For the spiritual world, everything has no time influence, although it appears to, but it has no limitations, it's unlimited. So unlimited degrees of ecstatic feelings of emotion, apparent meetings and separations and so on and so forth are experienced, although there's, in one sense, there's no question of separation, but the feeling or the experience of that is there, as you kind of came into this world, particularly in this mood of Vipulamba Bhav, to experience that highest bhav of ecstatic prema, which Srimati Radharani and the Vesants, her associates experience in this world, in Krishna Lila and so on and so forth. So that's going on. It's a pastime which is eternal. It's not just something which manifests only. But in the spiritual world, it's not. Let's say when we say the spiritual world, let's say Goloka Vrindavan, is not exactly like in the material world, where it actually is a, you could say, an apparent separation. It's a feeling or an arrangement there to experience that bliss. So just ever-ending bliss in those relationships there, Lord Chaitanya and this Radha and Krishna, this form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and his associates are experiencing this, different degrees of, and they may also be, I mean, it's just like in Goloka Vrindavan, in Krishna pastimes there, that even the apparent appearance of demons are there, the apparent appearance of Kamsa is there, the apparent appearance of all these demons are there to enhance the Lord's pleasure, to enhance the potency, to increase the feelings of ecstatic loving exchange. Although there's not really any demons, there's a feeling or an appearance by Yogamaya's arrangement in this sense. In a similar way, in Gaur Lila, it could be there, that there's this apparent mood of spreading or whatever, this love of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya's mission, to spread love of Krishna. But generally we only understand it's apparent within this material realm, as he's the personification of compassion. He's Patita Pavan, the most merciful form of all. So he appears in this way in this world, but he's in the spiritual realm. He's also experiencing. What is it he's giving? He's giving love of Godhead. So this is the highest form of experiencing that love of Godhead in the form of Mahaprabhu. If they want, of course, they can also distribute books. But as you say, who will they distribute books to? Maybe other devotees. They can take the role. I mean, even in Krishna Lila, the Kara boys, they take roles sometimes of enacting pastimes. Even the Gopas enact pastimes of taking parts of demons and so on, and killing demons and all these things. There's no real killing going on as such, but the pastime is being enacted. So these pastimes can be enacted. I'm not saying they are, but they could be. Lord Chaitanya can do anything. His associates can do anything. Whatever is pleasing. What is more pleasing than let me say, reconnecting, awakening living entities to their eternal relationship with the Lord? Very pleasing, very satisfying. The material world living entities are feeling a perversion of separation, perverted by the mode of ignorance. They've forgotten their relationship anyway, and they're suffering as a consequence. In the material world, it's like that. In the spiritual world, that you could say suffering, if you want to use that word. It's not exactly as ecstatic bliss, but it appears to be suffering and separation there. But it's certainly not in forgetfulness of Krishna. It's in complete absorption in Krishna, absolute absorption. We tend to measure things a little bit, what we'd say, from a point of view of some relative experience. We have no idea what actual happiness or bliss is in this world. We only have a relative experience of happiness based upon literally relativity, upon when the material energy seems to bring pleasure to my senses. It's not like that in the spiritual realm exactly. When simply the whole ecstasy is more one feels wanting to bring pleasure to the Lord. The more naturally one feels pleasure, one doesn't even ask for it. It's a big... I listened to a lecture this morning of Srila Prabhupada. Amazing discussion. He didn't mention it, but it was quite an interesting subject. He was talking about one of Lord Chaitanya's associates, was his name, Mukunda, I think. And he had this tendency of going to various groups of spiritual practitioners and hanging out with them. Some of them were not even devotees, they were impersonally inclined and so on and so forth. Sometimes it was due to family commitments, being grihasta and so on, but still it came to the notice of Lord Chaitanya. He banished him from his association. He's being unchaste like this in his association. So the devotees were... He was very popular, one of the leading kirtaniyas in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party. So then Mukunda asked the devotees if they would be kind enough to ask Lord Chaitanya if he would ever be merciful to him again and give him his associations. There's a few instances like this. There was the Brahmin in the house of Srivas Thakur, a similar kind of incident. And okay, the devotees went to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya. Funny, Prabhupada said in this lecture, usually we hear 10 million years or something, 10 million births or something. Prabhupada said 3,000 births. You can tell him that after 3,000 births he can again gain my association. So we know the reaction of Mukunda. He started, when he heard the answer from the devotees, he was in ecstasy. He started to dance like in total bliss. But after, my Lord is so merciful, after just three, we look at it so relatively, we think that's absolutely shocking. You know, over a small thing, I've been banished for 3,000 births. This is dreadful. If we look at things relatively speaking, in a limited experience, we tend to measure things. Oh my goodness, this sounds pretty boring up there. Doesn't sound like much going on up there. There's no preaching going on. They're all devotees. You know, what's happening up there? No cars to drive. Plane or something. But sounds a bit boring. There's no McDonald's up there. You know, I was in Printemps. Big shop yesterday. My goodness, what a shop! It must be one of the most opulent shops in France. I imagine. People are glam. We just went in there to use the public convenience, the toilet. Nice toilet, I must say. Very good. And nice and warm in there. They got nice seats you can sit down and warm up also. That's not what we went in there for. But the people going in there, they're trying to enjoy the reflection. You can't imagine the feast that they're having. You can't imagine the joy that they're having in Kirtan. You can see it in a little bit in Srivas Thakur and Srivas Angana. Srivas Thakur, as we hear about it, in his nocturnal kirtans in the house of Srivas Thakur. There's no preaching as we call it in the house of Srivas Thakur. It's just perpetual kirtan going on. And they're entering into ecstatic realms of loving exchange in relationship with Krishna. So it's like a little, say, an embassy, say something like that, which we can hear about within the realm of this world. Only pure devotees were allowed in. Nobody else. Nobody else. It's like the Srivas Thakur home, that Brahmin, that milk-drinking Brahmin, was somehow or other squeezed in there, but he was detected by Lord Chaitanya and thrown out immediately. And the Brahmin was not at all upset. I mean, he was kind of, you could say, a little bit imposing, but he was thinking how fortunate I am to have had this moment of seeing Lord Chaitanya dance. I'm the most fortunate person in my life. Desires have been fulfilled. When Lord Chaitanya saw his appreciation, his mood, and his attitude, and he immediately called him back in. Just like with Mukunda, when when Lord Chaitanya asked him, how did Mukunda respond when you told him? And they told him he danced in ecstasy and said, how merciful you are. Lord Chaitanya then said, call him here right now. Bring him right away. So, it's the mood. It's the mood. Sankirtan movement in this world is to cultivate that mood. Gaur-lila, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to enter deeply into pure chanting of the holy name of Krishna. We kind of see it more of a kind of a means to an end or something. But it's not. The holy name is Krishna in full. We just don't realize it. We're covered, just like we're covered in this material world in general, we're covered in our perception of the holy name also. We enter deeply into the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It's a relationship there. It's inconceivable. And a man or boy, girl, they love each other. It's not a question of, what else is going on in the world. It's almost insignificant, irrelevant almost. It doesn't really matter. It's the real heart, is within the heart that devotional service is actually, experienced deep within the heart. We can't say, day to day. I mean, there are descriptions of the Astakalya, the Astakalya Lila. It also applies in Gaur-lila. Different times of day, different activities are going on. Lord Chaitanya arises. It's the Mayapur, the mood in Mayapur that is present there. It's not the mood of Jagannath Puri exactly. It's the mood of Mayapur. Lord Chaitanya Sachimata is there, and Lord Chaitanya is rising, and all the pastimes are going on there. And bed, and so on and so forth. Doing his various activities. I don't know exactly. I studied the Astakalya Lila of Lord Chaitanya, something to look at. Don't worry, it's not boring. What will I do? It's so much like, some devotees, it can go on simultaneously. There's no reason why associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in both realms, they can also manifest within this realm, as well as Prabhupada said clearly, that they are internally absorbed in their eternal relationship with Krishna, and externally they appear to be doing whatever service they're doing within this realm, preaching or whatever it may be, in various forms that can go on. But the purpose of the movement is to facilitate the entry of the living entities into that realm, to increase the pleasure of the Lord. Where does real happiness come from? Suffering comes from forgetfulness, happiness comes from remembering Krishna. And no one's forgetting Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.
Can I
I don't think there's a Châtelet Léal. Maybe there is. Maybe there's a kind of an original Châtelet Léal there. Houseman or something. Yeah. Something like it. Yes.
Can I share a pastime? Because I prepared the class for today, and I was preparing the class about Ramachandra Kaviraj, and there is a good pastime connecting with your question, dear friend. So his spiritual master was Srinivasacharya, and one day Srinivasacharya went in transcendental meditation because Radharani lost her nostril in the water of Yamuna. And we know Ramachandra Kaviraj was associated with Narottam Das Thakur. He was always preaching in the pastime in this world. But in the spiritual world, when this happened, so Srinivasacharya was completely absorbed in the meditation because Radharani lost her nostril in the Yamuna. He tried to went into the pastime, and he could not get out of his transcendental meditation. Even the king of the country, who was a disciple of Srinivasacharya, went to see the wife was very disturbed. One day after, he was still in this transcendental meditation. and they called for Ramachandaka village. And so in the spiritual world, what was happening is that Ramachandaka village with Karuna Manjari in spiritual world, he went into the Yamuna and he found the nose ring, and he brought to Guna Manjari, who brought it to Rupa Manjari, and Rupa Manjari put on the nose of Radharani. And when Radharani got a nose ring, she was so happy with Ramachandaka village, and she gave the betel nuts to him. So after all this pastime, so it showed the connection between the pastime in the material world where we preach to bring pleasure to Radharani, Radharani bring pleasure to Krishna. In the same way, Ramachandra in spiritual world tried to serve Radharani, tried to serve spiritual master who served Radharani, and Radharani served Krishna. So after he came out, Srinivasacharya came out of his trance, and Ramachandra also, and he was so happy with Ramachandaka village, and Ramachandaka village gave the betel nut to his spiritual master that Radharani gave him in spiritual world. So this is how we can do the parallel between
no problem for us.
It's just an amazing pastime that I read yesterday.
Thank you very much. Yes, whatever you can make from that in terms of our own situation. And this world is, you can say, reflected, spiritual reflected onto this world. Yes, we see it pervertedly when our hearts become pure, and then when they see it for what it is. Obviously this world is like until we just can't see it. Because our hearts are covered. The preaching is to remove that covering. We're hearing pastimes like that of Ramachandaka Raj and Srinivasacharya and so on. It helps us to become absorbed in the reality. The reflection on our heart, instead of being a reflection of mundane pictures, becomes a reflection of transcendental subject matter. As the art. To hear these subject matters in the right way, not with the wrong understanding, in the right understanding and the right source is the correct process, the process to change our desire, change our perception. Hearing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in this world also, which we have, fortunately, we have so much material to hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Where's that pastime explained?
Oh, I found it I was looking for some information about Ramachandaka village and Govindaka village, and I find this website who explain all this pastime.
Where?
It's a website I can share with you.
It must have some Shastric origin.
Probably. They don't, on the website they don't give the Shastric reference. It's from I don't have the Shastric
Nope.
reference.
So many Shastra we don't even. We're only hardly reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. I doubt whether most of us here today have read Chaitanya Charitamrita thoroughly. How many of you have read the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita? Two? Three. Our main text on Chaitanya Lila is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangala. These are just common ones. And there's so many other commentaries, Chaitanya Chandramrita, so many other commentaries by various eternal associates of the Lord on Chaitanya's Lila, manifest or non-manifest. So many commentaries are there. maybe no longer available, I don't know. There's so many, but we've hardly read even Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's so much subject matter there. Okay, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Prema Nandi. Hare Krishna. Some of our devotees are not in good health today. Priya Rani was sick yesterday, and Serena is sick now. She was sick yesterday. Well, her score was a little bit below normal. Her health was not good yesterday.